Let's go to the Swamp now, where the Gators have the #3 nationally ranked recruiting class in 2024, ranked #2 in the SEC. You might not have realized that looking at the on-field products. Yeah, the work on the recruiting trail, much better. Let's see what Billy Napier can do with it, though, and bring in Jacob Rudner of Swamp 24/7 for a big recruiting weekend ahead as Florida hosts #11 Tennessee. Jacob, we talked about it earlier in the show. Xavier Mincy and LJ McCray, the priority targets for the Gators, they will be at this game, but so will a lot of other talent from the 2024-25 classes. Give us a couple names that have caught your attention.
Yeah, there are a ton of names who are going to be in Gainesville this week. A couple at positions of major priority for the Gators. I would say that one of those is going to be four-star athlete Cameron Michael, a guy out of Statesboro, Georgia, who is exceptionally talented, known for his speed. And the importance here is that the Gators are trying to add at wide receiver. They need one more piece in this class. That seems to be the feeling right now from the staff. Jeremiah Smith, who is the best wide receiver remaining in this class, who could still be available. A flip from Ohio State is going to be a challenge there. It's not impossible, but I would say it's unlikely at this point, and therefore guys like Cameron Michael will be crucial. And he is somebody who Florida wants to get on an official visit. Georgia is a major factor in that recruitment, but the Gators, of course, would love to be able to progress things there and try and steal a very good wide receiver out of his home state. The second person I would say is 2025 four-star quarterback Ryan Montgomery, a talented arm and somebody who I've been hearing has now risen to the top of Florida's want list for the 2025 class. He is a polished quarterback and somebody who has really done great to start his season, over 1,000 yards passing and double-digit touchdowns. Just somebody who I think could be viewed as a game changer for this Florida program behind DJ Lagway in the 2024 class. He is a top target, and he will be on campus this weekend for the Tennessee game.
Jacob, I couldn't believe this stat when I first saw it, but Billy Napier went 0-4 against his main rivals last season: Tennessee, LSU, Georgia, and FSU. The surprising part is this: he was the first coach in school history to lose to all four in the same season. Even McElwain Muschamp, Ron Zook escaped that dishonor. So that being said, how important is a win here against Tennessee for Florida?
Yeah, there's really no sugarcoating it. This is viewed as a critical game in Gainesville, one that could be program changing. I think that Billy Napier is aware of that. He spent time this week with the media talking about just the sheer importance of stealing a win from a ranked opponent, from a rival. You mentioned it, Grace. He does not have a win against a Florida rival since the start of his tenure. This presents the first opportunity. But really, this is a chance to avoid some ugly history in front of a lot of recruits. Florida has only lost back-to-back games to Tennessee two times. Excuse me, this will be the third since 1970. They have never lost to Tennessee since that 2003 season. They have dominated this matchup. And so a loss, especially an ugly one, if Florida doesn't look much more put together than it did in Salt Lake City against Utah, I would go as far as to say could be something of disaster. It depends really what recruits will have to think at that point. But yes, I think Florida can save itself a lot of drama by winning this game, or at a minimum looking very competitive in a loss.
Program changing and a disaster. That is strong words, Jacob. A lot of us will be watching this closely. Another thing Napier's watching closely: tight ends and safeties. He mentioned back in fall camp, those were the two position groups that he was maybe a little bit worried about due to lack of experience. So how is the staff addressing those needs in 2024?
Yeah, this is, Florida is in a position right now where those are two of its weaker rooms. And I don't think anybody on its coaching staff would deny that. Billy Napier throughout fall camp said that they do need to be better at tight end and safety specifically. And so far in the 2024 class, they've done quite a good job at that. Amir Jackson is a four-star tight end. He is a part of the group right now. There are a large number of defensive backs who are in the class, some of whom are capable of playing that safety position. And Florida just needs to continue to do what it's doing on the trail. But as we just talked about, a lot of that will come down to how good it can be on the field. I think that there are recruits who are evaluating performance things like how Florida is incorporating its tight ends and how successful its defense can be in its first season under Austin Armstrong. Those are things that we're hearing will matter to kids who maybe aren't as solidified about their decisions yet and need to see a little bit more. And so Florida, like any other position, will have to continue to bolster at tight end and safety. And of course, performance will matter in dictating how that goes moving forward.
Now, Florida currently has the number 3 class in the 2024 team recruiting rankings. Given the struggles we talked about against Napier's success against ranked teams, against their main rivals, how much pressure is on him this weekend to show some type of progress to keep this class together?
Well, Grace, like I said, I think that this is a weekend of showing one of two things: either a victory over a ranked opponent, which would be very significant for this Gator team, or, like I said, showing a clean, put together, much more cohesive, lack of penalty performance in what could be a loss to the number 11 team in the country. There's no denying that Tennessee is good and well regarded nationally. And so there is no pressure for Florida to win this game necessarily, but progress is paramount, and especially in front of so many recruits who know that Florida is in a rebuild year. It will take time to get the team back to where I think fans expect it to be, where this coaching staff expects it to be. And it's not a secret that they're not there yet. And so is the expectation for Florida to go out and get a win this weekend? No. Would that be beneficial? Of course. But in terms of looking polished, that is a must. And Florida must demonstrate improvement relative to what we saw in week 1 against Utah.
Jacob, we talked about some of the recruits visiting Gainesville this weekend, whether they're there or not. Are there any recruits that you think have a potential to flip to Florida?
Well, I'll circle back to the guy who I mentioned at the top here, and that's Jeremiah Smith, 5-star wideout. Florida is very interested in him, as I'm sure many schools are right now, given his status as one of the best players in the country. Just an elite player and somebody who would really help Florida's offense. But again, it is a flip likely. I'm not sure. Is it possible? I think it is. And Florida will push until pen hits paper with him in Ohio State.
All right, Jacob Rudner with the latest from Gainesville. Thanks so much for joining us. And for more on Gator football news and recruiting, be sure you subscribe to swamp247.com, the latest on Gator football and recruiting all season long.